I'm Ruby Brown, the principal, and it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to North Salisbury School today to help us recognize and honor our local veterans whom we all consider our heroes. As we look ahead towards Memorial Day, there are some things we need to remember and think about and have close to our hearts. And so today we are just thrilled to have you visiting us. And before we begin our program, we would like for everyone to please stand for the posting of the flag by the JROTC from Wycomico High School. Thank you. And would you please now join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now please join us in singing the Star Spangled Banner, which Alicia George. Please give them another hand. Thank you, and thank you, JROTC from Wycomico High School. Thank you. You may be seated. Before we proceed with our program, I would like to acknowledge some of the guests who are here with us. Dr. John Frederickson, who is the superintendent of Wycomico County Public Schools. We have with us Dr. Margot Handy and Dr. Kathy Townsend, assistant superintendents. We have some representatives from the Wycomico County Board of Education, Mr. Willie, Mrs. Kim Hudson, and Mr. Fitzgerald. I would also like to extend a very special welcome to our visitors from the Maryland State Department of Education, who are members of the Council of the Excellence in Gifted and Talented Education, an award which North Salisbury received this year for the first time. We'd like to ask them to stand. In addition, I would like to recognize our own Mayor of Salisbury, James Ireton, who's able to reschedule and be here with us. He's also one of our local heroes. And also, Delegate Rudolph King is here visiting. We also were able to have come to join us during this program our very own Sheriff Mike Lewis. Thank you, honored guests. Thank you, students. We are so pleased to have you come and join us today. Today, as many of you know, our students have worked very hard on a special project. Our students collected information from World War II veterans. They worked hard, they did research, and during that study, we heard lots of stories, a range of stories about their experiences there, and they were very moving. And we thought we'd follow up with one more program today, especially as we're approaching Memorial Day. But I'm going to ask if our teachers, two of our TAG teachers, would come up and tell you a little bit more about that historical research. So please join me in welcoming Mrs. Kelly Hamilton.
Good morning. It is such a wonderful feeling to look out in the crowd and see so many people here today to honor our World War II veterans. I just want to tell you a little bit about our unit. It's entitled Historical Documentaries, Preserving the Past for Future Generations. And to preserve these stories that were told by our World War II veterans, the children have submitted the original interviews to the Library of Congress as part of their Veterans History Project and to the NAB Center at Salisbury University. We started this unit because we wanted our students to have an appreciation for the sacrifices made by the men and women who serve our country, and we wanted them to understand the importance of oral histories and preserving those oral histories so that the future can learn about the past from those who experienced it firsthand. We met with the students and we talked with them about some of the wars and conflicts that the United States has been involved in, and we shared with them the fact that approximately 1,000 World War II veterans are dying each day. When they heard that statistic, they understood the urgency to capture their stories and preserve them for future generations. We wanted the students to make the initial contact with World War II veterans. We wanted them to go out into the community and search for these men and women. And so we shared with them a story. We shared with them Frank Baker's story. And I'd like to share with you Frank Baker's story today. Frank Baker was only 17 when he decided to join the war effort. Within weeks, he was storming Iwo Jima. On February 19, 1945, he was severely wounded when a hunk of shrapnel tore into his hip. During his lifetime, Mr. Baker endured over 20 surgeries and lived most of his life in excruciating pain. But what touched us the most was what he stated in an article in the Daily Times in 2010. This is what Mr. Baker said. He said, "I feel like I'm fighting another painful war here at home. The younger generation don't even know about Iwo Jima. They don't seem to care about it, and they don't even know where it is." He said, it is as if yesterday never happened. When we shared that with the children, they felt inspired. They felt inspired to let veterans know that they do care, and they want to learn about their experiences. So they went out to the community in search of World War II veterans. They were very successful. In fact, they found 37 World War II veterans. Mr. Baker was one of the veterans who was contacted by a group of students at Pittsville Elementary School. And although he was quite ill, he was determined to speak with them and teach them about Iwo Jima. It is a lesson they will never, ever forget. Unfortunately, Mr. Baker did not live long enough to see his completed documentary. He passed away a few weeks after the interview. However, the children can take great pride in knowing that he no longer felt that yesterday was forgotten, and that his history or his story will be forever preserved for future generations. I actually actually could stand here all day and share so many wonderful stories with you about each and every one of our World War II veterans. And they will always have a special place in our hearts, and their lessons will always be remembered. But we are fortunate today because Mr. Mowbray happened to be here, because he is still continuing to tell his stories, and he was meeting with a group of third grade students, and he was here today. And so he has a special story as well. And I would like Mrs. Watson to come up and tell Mr. Mowbray's story.
Good morning. What a pleasure it is to be here to speak about such a wonderful man, just one of our many veterans that we had an opportunity to meet. Mr. Mowbray is certainly no stranger here at North Salisbury School. He really has become a big part of the NSS family. And 3 years ago, although quite a bit hesitant, he did agree to participate in our historical documentaries unit with Mrs. Hamilton. Last year, he was invited back as a special guest here during our Veterans Day celebration and stood at this very podium and spoke to a large audience as well. And most recently, in January, Leanna Morris reached out and contacted Mr. Mowbray again and asked if he would rejoin us here at North Salisbury to be interviewed by a new group of third grade students to have the opportunity to learn about his stories. So Mr. Mowbray joined a group of third grade students in February for an interview, and he shared many memorable moments of his World War II experiences as a fireman first class aboard the USS Wilkes-Barre. What each of the TAD students in the room today and each of the teachers gained from the 40 interviews that we had the privilege of participating in is just sheerly immeasurable. This is the greatest generation, these World War II veterans, and we each have those special memories and those unforgettable stories that will resound in our hearts forever. What started as an hour-plus interview in duration was transformed into a 30-minute documentary in just 2.5 months. And that documentary includes the research, narrations, and photos that were incorporated by the group of students. What we're going to share today is a very much condensed version of that documentary. You might call it a 9-minute trailer for the full-length documentary. Editing to just share a few of the memorable moments that were captured during that interview with Mr. Mowbray. Hopefully will give you a little peek into the world of just one of our wonderful World War II veterans. So here's our little peek of 9 minutes.
Mr. Mowbray shared what he was doing at the age of 17 when he entered the military and his family reaction to him joining the military.
If I hadn't enlisted in the military, I was working for E.I. DuPont, Seaford, Delaware. I would have stayed there and worked as long as I could, because they had good benefits and they had a good pension. They was the only one in the area that had good pensions at that time in 1944. If I had not enlisted, I would soon been 18 years old. I would have been eligible to be drafted. I did not want to go in the Army or Marines. I had my choice if I enlisted to go in the Navy. I live within 1.5 miles of the Choptank River. I've been on the water a lot in my life for a young person. It was my dream to be in the Navy. I get to travel all over the world, see different things, different ports, different people.
Mr. Mowbray shared a frightening experience that occurred on the USS Bunker Hill aircraft carrier.
Got the pictures. That picture of the Bunker Hill got hit the 11th of May. We were 60 miles off the coast of Okinawa during the invasion of Okinawa. A large circle of ships, and this is the ship I was on. And I was on the 6-inch gun right on the bow of this ship. They were bringing the wounded ones over. I got out of the turret and we were giving the wounded ones first aid. We protect these carriers with the planes on them. Then we have a line of the battleships and cruisers around here, and a battleship on each side. Then the destroyers are on this circle outside. That's so anything comes in, we can shoot any direction of the plane comes in. But when the Bunker Hill got hit here, we had to break formation. We were here right by it when it got hit. We had to break formation, and the other ships went on. We were by ourselves. And this is some of the pictures. Here's where we're bringing them over, giving them first aid. We brought them over in a wire stretcher.
Mr. Mowbray shared that he joined the Navy because he knew he would get to travel many places. He really got to travel. This map shows his destinations during his time in the military from 1944 to 1946.
Mr. Mowbray shared his battle experiences that occurred in the Pacific Theater with us.
We went to bombard shores on the China coast that the Japanese held. We also bombarded a lot of the islands that the Japanese were on with our 6-inch guns. The at Iwo Jima, we anchored offshore. When you're anchored offshore, if a plane comes in, you cannot maneuver. It comes in fast, you're sitting right there. You can't maneuver to get away from the shot. The seaplane overhead, the Marines on shore would radio us where they wanted the next salvo or next 3 rounds put to them 6-inch guns, which I was on a 6-inch gun for general quarters. And when they would radio, we would fire them shells. And we got a letter of commendation from the Marine Colonel that 3 days we never missed a shot. Everywhere they was. Now, Okinawa was a different detail. We were in there nearly 3 months surrounding the island. It was a lot larger island with the ships because they sent a lot of kamikaze suicide planes after us. They estimated 3,000 to 3,500 suicides that have come after us. And most of the time our planes would shoot them down, but some of them would get in our circle and dive on us and hit some of the ships. They were trying to wear us out, but after a few days I was wore out anyhow.
Reflecting back on his war experiences, Mr. Mowbray shared his proudest moments.
The proudest I was when they said that the war was over. and I figured then I was going to get to come home sometime. But I didn't know that they were going to send us. We had a new captain after we went in Tokyo Bay. I was up Tokyo Bay when they signed the peace treaty. I was within the first bunch of ships they sent up. To go in Tokyo Bay, you go through a long canal, and then you go in the bay. Once you're in the bay, if they don't want you to get out, see, they said they were going to surrender, but they've done so much trickery stuff, we didn't go ashore. There's about a dozen of us went up there. They could have cut us off at any time they wanted. We couldn't got out, they could have blew us right out of there. But after we were up there a few days, and they signed the peace treaty, we pulled out. I thought that was really good. After I got home, life changed. I went to work in the Maryland Plastic Machine Shop under the GI Bill of Rights to learn to be a machinist. I'm glad that I served in the Navy. For a young person, it teaches a young person, military duty teaches a young person a lot of things that you wouldn't believe they teach you. They teach you responsibility, discipline, how to take orders, how to do your job, to be courteous. And a lot of people that doesn't have military training, of course they teach that in school. Now, when I was going to school, they didn't teach that too much back in the 1930s.
Right.
But now they teach a lot. Everything is organized. At that time, things wasn't organized like it is now.
What do you feel that you didn't get your medals? Because I want you to get your medals.
Well, I was hoping that the federal government would send the medals sometime. I don't know if they will or not. If they don't, well, I've been 67 years without them. So I was hoping maybe they would send them.
We really hope that Mr. Moby receives the medals and ribbons that he earned in the military.
Well, the federal government was supposed to send our ribbons and our battle stars to us when we were discharged from service. We never got them. I never got mine, and nobody on the ship got them. But they tell it, what I understand, they're about anywhere from 6 months to 3 years behind time now, sending the ones that they put in for now. It said it'd take them 6 months to 3 years to get them. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but it said it, especially in the Navy, because the Navy is the one that didn't send the ribbons, the biggest part of them. They're the fathers behind sending the ribbons and stuff out. And this has been 60-some years and I haven't got them yet.
All of the medals
He
that
never got
Mr. Mowbray has earned but has not received in person.
Those are like, that is just so sad. I thought it was like 2 or 3 of them.
Would the 5 producers of that documentary stand for a moment, please? Producers, go. Our 5, stand, please. Mr. Moe, I'm going to stand right beside me. Celebrity. There you are, up on film. Great. Thank you. Well, Leanna learned that our dear Mr. Mowbray never received his medals or his ribbons for his years of service during World War II. And she came back and shared that with her classmates just prior to the interview. The students felt that really this was a huge injustice, and certainly something must be done to rectify this problem. And during our interview in February, Mr. Mowbray was very humble and very quick to share that he was no hero, that he was simply doing a job to serve his country. The children looked in awe as Mr. Mowbray shared these little magazine cutouts of his medals and ribbons that he held in a little well-worn, tattered envelope. So, you know, precious memories. Much like a little sparkler, our Leanna felt that the idea of this veteran never receiving his medals and ribbons, certainly it was something that ignited a chord of determination within her. And she composed a letter and wrote to Senator Barbara Mikulski and requested that could there perhaps be some way to make sure that this valuable veteran, Mr. Mowbray, receives his medals. So I would like to invite Leanna Morris up to the stage with us, if you wouldn't mind sharing your letter.
Dear Senator Mikulski, my name is Amanda Morris. I am a third grader at North Salisbury School in Salisbury, Maryland. I am in the TAB program at my school, and we are creating a historical documentary about World War II veterans. We plan to send our project to the Library of Congress. My classmates and I are interviewing Mr. Charles Edward Mowbray Jr. He will soon be 87 years old and is a World War II veteran. He was in the U.S. Navy and served our country from February 29, 1944 to February 8, 1946. He helped rescue crew from the USS Bunker Hill after it was hit by 2 Japanese suicide planes on May 11, 1945. He was in several battles and he was in Tokyo Bay during the signing of the peace treaty. After talking with Mr. Mowbray, we realized there was something missing from this collection of photos and documents. There were no medals. He told us he didn't know why, but he never received any of them when he was discharged. We decided to try and help him get the medals, bronze stars, and ribbons that he earned. When my mom and I called Navy personnel, they said that it would take up to 3 years to get them. Mr. Mowbray has been waiting for 67 years and we don't want him to wait any longer. Senator Mikulski, can you help us get Mr. Mowbray his awards any faster? Mr. Mowbray not only served his country during World War II, but he also has been a volunteer firefighter and a certified ambulance driver in Preston, Maryland. He is a retired Maryland State Prison Guard and worked for over 8 years in the Wycomico County Sheriff's Department. I think he is a true hero who has generously fought for and served our country. Please help us get Mr. Mowbray's medals. We would also like to invite you to our school to present the awards to him and share our documentary with you. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, Leanna Morris.
Initiative and determination of Leanna, this couldn't have been a possibility, and she certainly has brightened the sky and really has brought a magnitude of brightness to this occasion, and we're very happy that this determination has followed through to help make a difference. This is something that she will remember forever and in the life of Mr. Mowbray and his entire family. Beautiful job, Leanna. So I'd like to turn over the microphone to Mrs. Brown, who has some additional guests.
Great job, Leanna. Thank you. Please give her another round of applause. And before we move on, we have some special guests who have come to join us as we honor our hero, Mr. Mowbray. We'd like to invite his family to come to the front. Please give them a hand for showing their support of him through all these years. Thank you. Thank you. And as they're coming up, I would like to share that this young girl with a heart continued to harass her teachers and her parents. What can we do? We must do something. We need to do whatever we can to make this happen. Can we write letters? Can Mrs. Brown do something? This young lady achieved something that Mrs. Brown never could. As the family is coming up to take their seats, I would like to invite Mrs. Linda Prochowska to come up, she is representing Senator Barbara Mikulski's office. I would like to tell you that they heard this plea.
Good morning. I feel like Santa Claus. I want to thank the Gifted and Talented class and the school for inviting me today, for writing the letter to Senator Mikulski. I would like to tell Leanna that when I retire, she may have my job. That was a beautiful act of advocacy. It's the kind of thing that I get extra points for in my job for doing. So congratulations to Leanna and to her class. I've got several presentations to make, but I'd like to start by reading, if it's all right, Mr. Mowbray, if I share it with the group. I have a letter here from Mr. Mowbray from Senator Mikulski. Dear Mr. Mowbray, it is with great pleasure that I join with your family, friends, and neighbors as you are presented with the medals you earned as a member of the United States Navy during World War II. You fought with courage and distinction in the Pacific Theater in China and the Philippines. We are here to celebrate your gallantry and conviction that led you to step up and step out so that all of us here today might continue to live in peace, security, and freedom. I also want to thank Leanna, who initiated this request to my office to assist Mr. Mowbray in getting the military medals he earned those many years ago. It is inspiring to know that there are young people like her who also honor their nation and its women and men in the armed services. Mr. Mowbray, you were called upon to serve your country as a warfighter. You left a good job, great friends, and a wonderful family to do what had to be done. You served longer than you could ever have expected and in ways you could never have imagined. Yet you did not flinch and you did not complain. Your medals are long overdue, but our gratitude has been there for 67 years. These military medals are awarded for leadership and courage, meritorious service and valor, for sacrifice and for defending this great country. The list of medals is long, but so is our memory of your service. A grateful nation thanks you.
Yeah.
God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Thank you.
Sincerely, Governor. If Leanna could come up and help me to finally, after 67 years, present to Mr. Mowbray the awards that he so richly deserves, I could use some help. There are 5 medals being presented today. I'm going to read these off. We're not going to pin all 5 medals on Mr. Mowbray because I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to walk out of here. I'm going to give him each of the medals he's earned. Each one comes with a ribbon. They're similar to this. I will read off the distinctions that he has earned, and then you may hand them to Mr. Mowbray.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Mowbray is entitled to the following awards. This is a letter from the Department of the Navy. Mr. Mowbray is entitled to the World War II Victory Medal, the American Campaign Medal, the Pacific Campaign Medal, the Navy Occupation Service Medal with Asia Class, the Combat Action Ribbon, the Honorable Discharge Button, and the Honorable Service Lapel Pin.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to thank everyone that was involved in this, thank all the students that have to remember the students are the future of our country. Thank all of you.
I have one last presentation to make. This is a personal gift from the Senator herself. She would like to present you with this American flag that is flown over the Capitol with her compliments and her gratitude.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And before you leave the stage, Mr. Mowbray.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all everybody that like I say, they're the future of our country.
Yes. I would like to invite Salisbury's Mayor, Jim Ironton, to the stage. He'd like to make a special presentation.
Mr. Mowbray. Mr. Mowbray, congratulations. Another round of applause for Mr. Mowbray. And another round of applause for the incredible students of Wicomico County Public Schools. Mr. Mowbray, it falls to me on behalf of the citizens of Salisbury, all of these school children, patriots around our nation, and all of our citizens to say congratulations to you today. Mr. Mowbray, your continued patriotism has not gone unnoticed. Today you are awarded what is rightfully yours. On behalf of the citizens of this community and this country, I extend a heartfelt and patriotic thank you for the duty you have performed and the bravery you have shown. Again, Mr. Mowbray, congratulations on behalf of everyone.
Thank you.
I'll leave that with you.
Thank you.
Please give Mr. Mowbray another hand. We're going to let him go ahead and take his seat. Thank you. At this moment, we would like to invite Mr. Tony Sarbanes to the stage. He is coming up to make a special presentation to Mr. Mowbray.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you. My grandson is sitting there. Anthony, good morning. I don't know if Eve is here. No? Where's Eve? There you are, Eve. The reason I'm pointing them out is, and every youngster in this room, don't forget what you just saw. When you get older, remember what you just saw. We're losing World War II people at a very rapid rate. So don't forget, when you're 50 years old, you can say, I was in a room where we honored a World War II Navy veteran. This is a great project that these students have undertaken. They deserve a ton of credit, and I think we ought to give the teachers, where are the teachers who got this started? Put your hands up. There they are. And the students who worked on it, and I'm going to do something else. Anyone in this room, man or woman, who's a veteran, I'd like you to stand up. Now's the time. Please stand up if you're a veteran. We owe these men and women a debt of gratitude for their service to our great country. Now, Mrs. Brown and I go back a long time. I'd like to say that we went to school together. That's a little bit of a lie. I actually was her high school principal many years ago. But when she called me and asked me if I would come and just make a few comments, here I am. Now, my military background is I was an active duty infantry officer, and then I went and stayed in the Army Reserves for 33 years and was fortunate enough to retire as a Major General many years ago. So it really is my pleasure and honor to be here. I will tell you, Mr. Mowbray, I tried my uniform on yesterday, and I have what's called drop and up disease. Everything is dropping down or coming up, and it's all settled in my stomach. So when I buttoned the button, yes, it did button, and I decided in my better judgment I would just wear what I have on. Today we're really here to honor Charles Mowbray, a World War II veteran in the Navy. You saw a picture of the Wilkes-Barre that he served on for those many years. He's a native of Preston, Maryland, and came in the Navy in Salisbury, and here we are. Today he's the proud recipient of 5 battle stars for 5 naval campaigns that he saw in the Pacific, 4 in the Asiatic Pacific Theater, and 1 in the Philippines Theater. Now I'm going to give you a couple of numbers I want you to remember. In World War II, this country had 16,353,699 people in uniform. Think of that. 16,353,699 men and women in uniform. Unbelievable. Think of that. You can remember, if you just remember 16 million, you're doing all right. Now here's the other number you need to remember. Of that number, we lost 407,316 people. That's the most ever in a war, most ever, unless you combine the Union and Confederate losses of the Civil War. If you combine those two together, it surpasses World War II. But if not, World War II, we lost more people than any war in our nation's history. So remember 2 numbers, 16 million in uniform, 407,000 who gave their life. And in that 407,000, the most ever because of combat losses. You know, some people are given who died were not actually in combat. They might have been in a plane that crashed in training, but they're all considered World War II veterans. I'm going to make a plug. I happen to chair the Wicomico County War Memorial Committee. We've got Donnie Fitzgerald here, who's a member and a Vietnam veteran. We have a Memorial Day service Monday, May 27th in front of the Civic Center. There's a great memorial there. And we have names of people on the plaques, home residents, Wicomico County, but who gave their life. There are 190 names on those plaques. But guess what? 107 of them are World War II veterans. 107 out of 190. That gives you a pretty good idea of our commitment to Wicomico County, to the country. Today in this country, we have a population of about 300 million people. 300 million people live in this country. Guess what? About 1% of that serves in the military, because it's a volunteer force. About 3 million people actually are committed in one way or the other to the military. Having said that, that is why today we should respect, support, and honor those personnel in uniform. And you actually see a few of them in the room today. Above all, we should thank our World War II veterans who are part of that great generation. Mr. Mowbray, on behalf of those gathered here today and all Americans, I personally want to thank you and your fellow World War II veterans for their service to our great country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sarbanes, my principal. We would like to ask Mrs. Lee Lewis who is representing the VFW Post 194 to come up. She would like to make a special citation. I would also like to acknowledge one of our servicemen who is a former student and son of one of our teachers who is currently serving in the Navy. Just to stand, please give him a hand. He was one of our past students. I don't remember, could you tell us what office you're serving in? Okay. He's on the USS Enterprise. And what is he, a lieutenant? He's a lieutenant. Give him a hand. He's worked so hard and we're so proud of him.
Wow, I can't believe how nervous I am. I have the honor of presenting a special citation on behalf of 8,623 members of the Department of Maryland Ladies Auxiliary VFW to Miss Leanna Morris. Leanna, would you step forward? Leanna, this is just a small token of my appreciation for you looking out for our veterans. And sorry, I get very emotional. Always wear that. I was trying to think of something special that I could give you that you could always keep near to your heart, to always remember not only Mr. Mowbray, but all of our veterans who have served our country. The citation reads, bear with me, I'm sorry. Department of Maryland Ladies Auxiliary to the Veterans of Foreign Wars is very proud to recognize Leanna Morris. I swore I wouldn't do this. For being a true, thank you. For being a true American in your endeavor to make sure our nation's veterans receive their entitlements and the honor they so rightly deserve. Awarded on this 15th day of May 2013, Lee Lewis 2012-2013 Department President. Thank you very much for all you've done, especially for Mr. Mowbray. I would also like to present you each year the state president for the VFW Ladies Auxiliary designs a special pin that they give out, and I'd like to present you with one of those as well. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Would all the students that participated in the documentary project, would you please stand? While Leanna should be very proud of what she did and took the next step, not only did the school project as assigned, she wrote letters to correct, I think, an injustice as far as Mr. Mowbray not receiving his medals long ago. But you, everyone that worked on this project, you should be very, very, very proud of yourselves. Because you were able to help our World War II veterans tell the story of what happened long ago to the next generation and the next generation by putting that on a documentary and recording it and being able to preserve that history. You should be very, very proud. And I know everyone in this room is very proud of you, so give yourselves a round of applause. I do have, and I was hoping that we would have them, I have someone working on citations for each one of you for your special commitment to this project, and I will have them before the end of the school year to present to you. I apologize for not having them today, but we will, each student that participated in this program will get a special recognition from the VFW Ladies Auxiliary. So thank you. Mr. Mowbray, I'm not going to ask you to step forward, I'll come to you. I just have a special little gift I'd like to present to you. On behalf of the VFW Ladies Auxiliary, got to do it the right way. Are you really?
I'm a lifetime member of the American Legion and VFW.
Very good. That is wonderful. Well, I think it's wonderful that you belong to both veterans organizations. They're great organizations, and we're just so proud of your service and so proud that they could recognize you here today.
I appreciate all they done and what they were proud of overseas, do their job. And I appreciate all the students that done, they're the future of our country. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me just quickly say, since no one's seen it, I tried to present Mr. Mowbray. Anyone that's in the military knows about the challenge coins. Well, the VFW Ladies Auxiliary has a coin that we present to veterans and those that are currently serving when we feel that they've done something exceptional and we want to thank them. And that's what I presented to Mr. Mowbray, thanking him for his service to our country. So thank you very much, and thank you again for the awesome project you guys did.
Thank you, Mrs. Lewis. Please give her another hand. We have two more speakers that we're going to invite. First of all, we have a representative from the other post that Mr. Mowbray belongs to, VFW Post 64. Please come to the stage. We'll let him clarify that.
It's the American Legion.
Oops, sorry.
Wycomico Post 64. And Ms. Morris invited me here a couple of days ago, kind of on short notice, but I'm proud to be here to honor this gentleman right here. Mr. Mowbray, I thank you for your service to your country, and on behalf of American Legion Post 64, I thank you. And also all you boys and girls and all the teachers that worked on this project. I'm amazed. I personally have never seen children this young do a project like this. And it does my heart well, and I'm glad to see that we have children like this that are going to be our future citizens. And it seems to me they've got a good start and they're going to be good citizens because, you know, service to the veteran and service to the community, you know, that's a big thing. So just consider this one of your first projects to your community because community service should be listed high on your accolades someday. I'd like to thank you for inviting me here, and again, I thank all the veterans here, and also I'd like to go one step further to thank any first responders, firefighters, police officers. They're all out there protecting us, as well as the veterans are protecting us, and also their active duty. Matter of fact, I'd like to give a round of applause for the 115th Military Police out of the Maryland Army National Guard stationed in Kandahar, Afghanistan. They're in harm's way, and they're protecting our freedoms. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me here, and have a good day. Thank you to my high school principal, Mr. Salisbury.
Thank you. And now we have one final speaker who'd like to come up. Please, I'm going to ask if Mrs. Morris, Leanna's mother, and her father and her sister would come up while she's making this final presentation, and her grandparents. If you all would just come on the stage. you all had a hand in creating and helping to develop this young lady. Please give them a hand as they're coming to the stage.
Well, first of all, thank everyone for coming today. But on behalf of my family and all of us, as Leanna's mother and a teacher here at this school, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Mowbray. You have brought history to life for these children, and they have learned so much. We appreciate all of your time and all the stories you told them. And I also want to thank Mrs. Mowbray. I have known Mr. and Mrs. Mowbray all my life. They were my neighbors growing up. And of course, they've watched me grow from a baby all the way up to, I won't tell you my age now, but of course, they've seen Leanna grow and Allison, my older daughter, and we also have a 3-year-old son, Jacob. And they just love going over to visit him and Mrs. Mowbray. But I want to thank Mrs. Mowbray because she helped me keep this a secret from him. Keep this a surprise. All the phone calls. And his family as well. I've spoken to them about this. They all knew. This is all for you. Well, the biggest thing that I want to mention today is that this June, Mr. and Mrs. Mowbray will celebrate their 67th wedding anniversary. So he got his medals, but we have a little something for you too. Okay, congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations on 67 years. What an honor. And I don't know if anyone mentioned, I believe that Mr. Mowbray's grandson just left. It's
Granddaughter's her grandson-in-law.
His grandson-in-law just left for Afghanistan on Monday. So that family tradition is still continuing. Okay. We cannot end this program without acknowledging the 4 TAG teachers who have led this entire campaign. They planned, they facilitated this entire project. They allow their students to think and grow, encourage them to do more, to be courageous, to take risks, and to stand up for what was right. I would like for them to please come to the front. I want everyone to see you. Mrs. Kelly Hamilton, Mrs. Kristen Graves, Mrs. Amanda Marcos, and Mrs. Jen Watson. Yes, you are to be proud today. And I need someone to make sure they're taking pictures of this fantastic, dynamic teaching team. Thank you. And before we close, I would just like to say that our local TV station, WBOC, will be filming today, and they will be showing today's presentation, and they came last week for our TAG presentation. Tonight at 4 o'clock on Delmarva Life, you will see a segment of this entire journey. And we are also so pleased and honored to have CBS's own Mr. Steve Hartman here to do a segment. You know these are great stories. We know and appreciate them, but it's good to know that audience are appreciative of what our teachers and our God bless. So welcome and thank you. We also have guests from the U.S. official Navy who have been videotaping and filming along with us. Possibly Friday night will be shown. It will be shown on Friday night. So going out, make sure you have something with you so you can watch or record it. But we certainly, again, would like to thank each and every one of you for coming today, helping us to honor our local hero, Mr. Charles Mowbray, today. Mr. Mowbray, please know that we at this school, our students, our staff, our families, our Board of Education, we will never forget. Say it with me, students. We will never forget. We will never forget. Thank you for sharing your story with us. We hope you all have a wonderful day. We invite all of our guests and their families to join us for light refreshments across the hall. Feel free to stay and take as many pictures as you like. E-Gate Committee and any other guests, you want to see this beautiful school, we invite you to just take a tour. You'll see children presenting and sharing some of what they have learned. And if you want to see some more in-depth World War II veterans interviews, feel free to take a walk around the building. Thank you, thank you, thank you on behalf of our wonderful Vice Principal, Mrs. Hall, who wouldn't come up here. Thank you. Have a great day.